Okay, and welcome back, everyone. This is the First Inning Radio Show, and we're live on Spotify. You can search our catalog there on Spotify, and just search the First Inning Radio Show BX Bomber 2011, and you'll find all these latest episodes. If you didn't hear the latest one, go there or search on Google and find the latest uh podcast where you can hear it on your own platform. But I am the BX Bomber 2011. Search me on all social media, and I'm along with Roger, the big Yankee fan. Say hello, Roger.
Hello, good evening, BX Bomber. And we are recording on Friday, March 13th, 2020. And if any day felt like a Friday the 13th, that this day certainly does.
Yeah, man. Friday the 13th is always my lucky day.
Oh, my goodness. But what we have to discuss now is a major situation has happened concerning sports and concerning the world in general. And this is pretty much a coronavirus pandemic podcast. And we will start out with what the coronavirus is. The coronavirus pandemic is an ongoing pandemic of coronavirus disease 2019, or also known as COVID-19, caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, SARS-CoV-2. The virus was first reported in Wuhan, Hubei, China, on the 17th of November 2019. And on the 11th of March 2020, the World Health Organization declared the outbreak a pandemic. As of the 13th of March 2020, over 145,000 cases have been confirmed in more than 130 countries and territories, with major outbreaks in mainland China, Italy, South Korea, and Iran. As of the 13th of March, more than 5,400 people have died from the disease, and more than 70,900 have recovered. The virus spreads between people in a way similar to influenza, via respiratory droplets from coughing. The time between exposure and symptom onset is typically 5 days, but may range from 2 to 14 days. Symptoms are most often fever, cough, and shortness of breath. Complications may include pneumonia, acute respiratory distress syndrome. There is currently no vaccine or specific antiviral treatment, but research is ongoing. Efforts are aimed at managing symptoms and supportive therapy. Recommended preventive measures include hand washing, maintaining distance from other people, particularly those who are unwell, and monitoring and self-isolation for 14 days for people who suspect they are infected. The deaths per number of diagnosed cases is currently 3 to 4%, compared to just 0.1% for influenza. The deaths per infected persons will be lower. Public health responses around the world have included travel restrictions, quarantines, curfews, event cancellations, and facility closures. They have included the quarantine of all of Italy and the Chinese province of Hubei, various curfew measures in China and South Korea, screening methods at airports and train stations, and travel advisories regarding regions with community transmission. Schools have closed nationwide in 22 countries and locally in 17 countries, affecting more than 370 million students. So that is a little background on the coronavirus pandemic that we are facing now. And I guess you can come in now and explain what's happening with the sport.
Well, right now, MLB baseball has suspended play for the rest of spring training and 2 weeks of the regular season. So until then, we're gonna have to figure out what happens. NBA is suspended for the rest of the year. The NHL, MLB soccer is ML soccer is canceled.
And I,
And basically, right now there is a ban on events that have 500 or plus people.
right.
So I
And
mean,
what it is a case of, they are talking about resuming the season, or it's going to be at least 2 weeks into the season of delay, and then they would have to get ramped up and everything. But Mayor de Blasio of New York City has said that he suspects it will be several months before he will allow large crowds to come into stadiums again. So it may be several months. So for the time being, Major League Baseball and our Yankee season is on delay for a period of time that we do not know.
well, they'll bring it back once they figure out, if it's being controlled or not. You know what I mean?
Right,
If they have a handle on it and it starts simmering down, I figured it would go back. Everything's gonna go back to normal one day. It's
right,
just we don't know how long it's gonna take. That's all it is in reality. But the reality is yes, it could take over 2 months, maybe three,
right.
because uh people don't show symptoms for 5 days, and then they have to be quarantined for 2 weeks just to feel better and to be back in the world again and to beat it. You know?
Right. It is a very serious situation. And I will say that the United States federal government had a very poor response, where in Wuhan, China, and in China, they attacked it very strongly and did major quarantines and did major testing. But the United States federal government has done a very, very poor job of getting this under control.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
there was no testing available. There are people that are showing symptoms that are unable to receive tests, and it has been a very, very poor response by the United States government.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. That's very hard. I don't blame them for failing because that's something difficult to prepare for in the first place. Um, right now, I don't know where else in the world, but I know for a fact in New York City, the hospitals normally running at 100%. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So with an epidemic like this, they can't control it at all. That's why they're telling you to stay home. Because
Right.
if you go to the hospital, they won't be able to help you at all. You
Yes,
know?
it is a very serious situation, and
On a
the Trump
normal
administration. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
day, Roger, if you go to the emergency room and let's say you need a bed to stay overnight because you're that bad, you might
Hmm.
not get a bed till, let's say, uh for example, my father had to bring him in because he wasn't feeling good. He had low blood pressure, stuff like that, and he needed a bed. And this accident happened at like 6 in the morning, right? We took him to the hospital, got there by 7 in the morning. Do you know he didn't get a bed until like 1 o'clock that next morning?
Wow.
Nearly 24 hours.
Right.
So imagine that's a normal day. So imagine now. You're never gonna get a bed. You won't even probably even get a room. Probably won't even reach the emergency room.
What this really shows is how this rapacious for-profit private healthcare system and the healthcare system in the United States is failing in a very bad shape in
Yeah.
comparison to many other industrialized modern countries in the world.
Yeah.
And it is a very bad situation where, we are going to have vulnerable populations such as homeless people and the poor and disabled, and we will have many vulnerable populations, and our social safety nets and our government is pretty much broken as far as being able to handle this. And the response of this government shows just how broken things are.
Yeah, it's true. That's a fact. And yeah, man. And those other countries like Australia and stuff like that, they were on it. They were on the ball.
Yeah,
And I don't know what they did to be on the ball because we have to do research because right now the news is like flowing in. We won't know on how they did it maybe months later, but they have a working system there that got these people tested to make sure nobody had it. Now, in America, I believe they were doing like 3,000 testings a day or something like that. That is like, I mean,
Oh, not in the U.S. Maybe it's ramped up to that now, but I mean, for quite a while, no one could, even people with symptoms couldn't get tested.
well, they were testing. Well, I know in New York, it started at 100, then the next day it was 200, and then it kept going up like that. So I
Right.
think in America, I don't know, it's up in the thousands that they tested so far.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
think
And
now what was happening is they didn't have enough test kits. So there
right.
was a guy in Congress today, I believe, crying to give people more test kits, and now Trump said yes, and they're gonna give them more test kits to test more people. So they
Right.
should be
Right. It
testing
really is a case of
on an
where
average.
this
No,
country wasn't prepared for it.
right, and now they should be testing about 6,000 people a day, on average.
Okay.
I don't know
Well,
if that's the whole country or that's the state. I have no idea. They didn't, you know, elaborate on that, but up to 6,000 people a day will be tested. That's a lot.
okay. And that's really what the reason that we are so unprepared is the Trump administration cut the budget severely for the Center for Disease Control, the CDC. We cut all kinds of programs with scientists and doctors that would be prepared for this. And
Right.
we cut a lot of it. And what we do spend our money on is the military industrial complex. So our money goes toward bombing other countries and U.S. imperialism. And as far as the people in this country and our healthcare, that all goes by the wayside.
And then talk about bombing other countries. I saw in the news today, there was a U.S. missile attack on a country in Baghdad over there, a city in Baghdad.
Yes, they attacked Iraq again. They're trying. They're saying that they're fighting Iran, Iranian allies. But what they are really doing is they're protecting the oil. Is what they're doing. This country is an imperialist country, and it is trying to protect its oil.
Still trying to make a dollar, right? And trying to take dollars at
Right.
the same time. Man, we're never gonna win, man. Telling you. Not even with the
Exactly.
Yankees, man. Not only that the Yankees have to battle their own injuries, now we gotta battle the world injuries too. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yes, yes. I know that both of us. I
Yeah.
mean, with what's happening in the world and the vulnerable populations that could be affected, also we could talk about is not only sports, but the economy can really go into the tank because the economy is not working now.
Well, I'm gonna.
Restaurants are empty. People aren't traveling. Supply chains could be interrupted. People could not get medicine.
Well, no. No. They have something for that. Restaurants and stuff like that. I know in New York City, and I believe in other states as well. They're gonna open up this type of program type of thing, and you have to go there, fill out the application, and you might actually get help for your assistance.
Wow, that
You
would be
know?
good because
Yeah.
you know, the Fed just just gave Wall Street $1.5 trillion. They injected $1.5 trillion in quantitative easing into Wall Street because they are terrified about the stock market, which really isn't a real indicator of how the actual economy is doing. But they have injected $1.5 trillion into Wall Street, and in the meantime, workers are fighting to see if they are even going to get paid sick leave. And also, the schools are closing. The schools that's closed in our town, and people who have jobs are now going to have to figure out how they're going to be able to have their jobs and take care of children.
Yes. That's why the school system will stay open.
Right. Ours has closed here.
Allegedly, they're gonna open back up soon.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. But in Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, they just closed today.
for how long? Just for the
I
day?
don't know. I don't have all the details on that.
Yeah, they might be
And I
open
know all
Monday
the
morning.
colleges are going online.
Yeah, colleges is different, but I think they're gonna open up the schools Monday. All the schools
Oh,
Monday.
okay.
And because yeah, a lot of kids are homeless, man, and a lot of kids need that hot breakfast and that hot lunch, because
Exactly.
they
You
don't
were
get that at
explaining
home.
that.
And in the New York City alone, there's 2 million, over 2 million kids. And what's crazy about it is 70% of these 2 million kids are homeless, meaning they live in a shelter or they share an apartment with another family.
It is a very sad state of affairs, yes.
So it's already difficult for these people already, you know.
Yeah.
And damn, and now to be quarantined or whatever like that, it's gonna be hard for people because those people have to go to work too, and then
Hmm.
they can't stay with these kids at home.
Right. The Democrats in the House of Representatives were working on a bill that would give 14 days paid sick leave to people guaranteed, and
Right.
also would guarantee tests while waiving the fees for the test as well, and have money for pregnant mothers as well. And from what I understand, the Trump administration is not even supporting that. Yet they can inject $1.5 trillion into Wall Street.
Right. And they don't care about the New York City school system at all.
No, no,
They don't
if
care
you're
about the school
wealthy,
city. Because listen, they sent out an email saying now for the food food wise, clean the cafeteria tables with extra bleach in the water on 2 days, on a Tuesday and a third, on a Monday and Friday or something like that.
right,
Like that's not enough. You understand? There should be
right,
somebody cleaning those things and wiping everything as soon as every kid leaves the table. You know what I mean? It should be sanitized, and then the next kid could sit there on a clean table. You know. Not only that,
yes. Well, education is completely underfunded. We have a terrible Secretary of Education named Betsy DeVos,
right?
who is constantly trying to pump taxpayer money into charter schools. But as far as public schools are concerned, they're being devastated.
They gave the janitors 1 hour extra, and they shipped them some spray cans, just only to disinfect doorknobs and
Right,
railings. What is that gonna do? You need give guys a few hours and let them take bleach and water, let them scrub the doors down, the everything a kid touches.
right,
And it's very
right.
easy to do. You get a bucket of water, a giant paint bucket of water with bleach, and you get a brush for the floor and you start scrubbing. Simple.
Yeah,
But nobody's doing that, man. Nobody's handing out bottles of Purell. Nobody's handing out hand sanitizers or Clorox wipes. There's none of that, man. They letting them kids go to school just like that, and that's all public school.
right. It,
Maybe the person that's hearing this right now, maybe saying, "Oh, my school is doing this." Yeah, maybe your school because they have a good-hearted person there. That's why, But in other schools, and majority of the schools, they don't care. You know what I mean? They don't care if your kid comes to school or not, and it's
well,
sad,
it
man.
depends on the neighborhood. You work in a
Exactly.
low-income neighborhood where you have underserved children. If you go into,
Exactly.
a school in, say, Soho or something like that,
Exactly.
where you have a larger, higher income group of people, they will be treated a bit differently.
And they surely are. Do you know they have cafeteria food from the school, and they have catered food that comes in for them as well.
Oh yes, you know, underserved children are left to fend for themselves, and they're underfunded, and it's really disgraceful.
And then they
Those that are
claim,
wealthy,
yeah, and then they claim that public schools have no money. No, but
right?
look what they're doing with the money with these schools, man. You got to see it, man. And then for your child to get in that school, it's like he has to be like the smartest kid in the whole borough just to get in there.
Or they have to pay a very large tuition,
And or you have to pay, but your kid has to be smart in some way,
right?
you know?
Right. It really is the case. It really is the case.
Yeah.
And I do have a little bit of Yankees information here
Yeah, let's get into
about the
some Yankee news.
coronavirus shutdown. Yankee players get their marching orders from the union, and I have a little internet information about that if you would like me to go through with it.
A statement from the Baseball Players Union?
Yes, yes. What we have here, this is by Randy Miller of New Jersey Advanced Media for NewJersey.com, the Star Ledger.
Sure.
Yankees players and every other big leaguer were given instructions on the first full day of the coronavirus shutdown. A day after Major League Baseball decided to suspend spring training, players were told in a letter from the union that they have an option to go home, work out indoors at their club spring training facilities, or work out in their big league city. Thus, the Yankees can remain in Tampa, go to New York, or return to their all-season home until the suspension is lifted. Here is the union letter, which was tweeted on Friday by MLB Network insider Ken Rosenthal. It says, and yes, as others have noted, the late to start the season almost certainly will be longer than 2 weeks. It most certainly will be longer than 2 weeks. These player options are very different from what Yankee manager Aaron Boone expected to happen when he met with reporters on Thursday after his club's final breakthrough league game, a 6-3 win over the Washington Nationals in West Palm Beach, Florida. At the time, Boone said players would not be permitted to go home and that teams would continue preparing for the regular season by playing simulated games. That's not happening because players will not be allowed to do any outdoor activities on club spring training or regular season fields. Before players received instructions from their union, several Yankee players showed up at Steinbrenner Field on Friday. After a few, including pitcher Garrett Cole, were spotted driving away by New Jersey Advanced Media's Brendan Cutie. And earlier on Friday, the Yankees tweeted a message to fans to thank them for understanding as they collectively navigate through this challenging time being faced by the worldwide community. And that is some of the information for the Yankees as of now.
Truly devastating, man. No.
Right.
One good question is about the tickets. Will the ticket office still be open? Can you still go get your tickets at the stadium? I don't know.
As of
Bryson.
right now, I think baseball operations are shut down after the suspension is lifted. But I did a wise thing by only getting those 3 games in April instead of setting myself up for the season.
Well,
And
listen.
I got them, utilizing Ticketmaster, and
Right.
I checked the policies, and they said that if events are canceled, I don't have to take any more actions. That my games will be refunded back to my credit card, my debit card within 7 to 10 days, 7 to 10 business days after the suspension. I
Right.
have to check.
Right. It's
I
gonna.
mean, after
Yeah. Yeah.
the
They're gonna give your money back.
cancellation.
Right.
So I have to check my Gmail to see if I did get a new notification yet.
Yeah. They're gonna refund your money. A good question was Bryson asked me if what about the voucher? If you vouchered for a game in April, like he vouchered for one on April 6th, will you be able to exchange that ticket? Well, I believe you would be able to, you know, if you have
Yes,
the hard
I
if
certainly
you
would
have the
think
hard
so.
copy, yeah. If you have the hard copy,
Uh,
I think you'll be able to do it. But if you bought it online, really don't. I really don't know.
we will have to check on that and check in on it on our next radio show as things are updated.
Yeah, I really don't know. So I would think that if, because a lot of people do it mobile on the mobile device, on your cell
Right.
phone, right? So through the
Yeah.
app. I wonder if they refund it.
Well,
No,
it will depend. As of right now, I got mine for May 27th,
I mean
and
the
we'll see if
voucher.
the
I
season
mean,
is
meaning
underway at that time or not.
I'm not talking about the one you pay for. I'm talking about the voucher, fan
That's what
appreciation
I'm saying. My
voucher,
voucher, I got my game on May 27th using my voucher.
May 27th. And I still haven't used mine. I have to get voucher
Right.
mine. I was gonna use it for a Friday or I feel bad for the Mets fans. You know why? Because opening day weekend, they were giving out a Pete Alonso rookie bobblehead and I think a Jacob DeGrom bobblehead too. The next day,
Wow.
yeah,
Well,
that would
they
have been
may still
something.
do that. We'll have to see. Everything is really up in the air. We don't know how long the crisis is
And
going
then,
to be out of control or if
right,
and when they do begin the season, if they can. Things are really just up in the air. I'm sure it's going to be longer than 2 weeks into the season before they begin playing or resuming.
and check it out. The biggest and most prized possession of any Yankee fan or every Yankee fan is calendar day, in my opinion.
Right.
Everybody wants that calendar. You know, so man, I don't know when they're gonna give that out again. Well, the calendar they got to give out. They'll probably give it out the next homestand, the first homestand they do
Right.
it. So guess what? Since the season is delayed, I guess I'll actually be there for opening day.
Yes, you will. Exactly.
You
And
know what
I'm
I mean?
even taking under consideration whether I should change our World Trade Center visit or not. I'm going to leave it as it is for now and wait another month, and we'll see where things stand. As of right now, De Blasio was reporting that there are 100 cases of coronavirus in New York City at this point in time, but he
Yeah.
expects by next week for the cases to increase to 1,000. That's how quickly it's spreading.
Yeah, man, because you don't know who has it. You don't know who you pass. The subway. I mean, man. I mean, you could be in a car with the coronavirus all in it.
It's just such a terrible response by this government. I mean, people are unsure of what is happening. Tests are not available to people.
Well,
They don't know who's who or what is what.
I'll tell
They
you
they
one
don't.
thing. I'll tell you one thing. This all could have been prevented if, well, I'm speaking for New York City, if they were cleaning these places already. You know what I
Right.
mean? Germs wouldn't be able to live, or maybe wouldn't be able to travel if they were actually cleaning these places already. And they don't clean these places at all. Like,
Right.
a turnstile, they might install that thing, and that thing may never be clean in its whole entire lifetime.
Holy cow! Yeah, when you think about it, think of subways are a petri dish.
Especially the turnstile, the thing that moves when you go through it. You put
Right.
your card and the thing that moves, that thing touches so many people.
Oh yes.
You know, so and they don't even clean that. And then you do see them clean subway stations, but it's the ones in the rich areas, right, on the 6
Sure.
train and stuff like that, and they just wash the floor.
Right.
They do that. At least I seen them do that, but other than that, I mean, man, it's bad, man. It's bad, and they
Are
don't.
you getting around on your motorbike now, or are you still taking the subway?
I get on. I got my motorbike. Thank God.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Thank the good Lord, man, because I couldn't. I was already a germaphobe I mean, before this, going on the train.
Right.
Train is disgusting, man. You go on and you touch the pole, and it's like greasy and all that. Oh man,
Oh yeah.
I hate that. Or you know what I hate too? When you touch the pole and somebody just touched it and their hands with lotion. Oh
Right.
man, disgusting, man. Or you gotta stand,
Right.
yeah. Or you gotta stand next to a construction worker that's all dusty,
Right.
and you got your jacket that you're trying to keep clean, that cause you only got one jacket, you know, man, it sucks, man. And this guy wants to be on top of you, man. Your jacket's all dirty.
Yeah,
Man,
I don't particularly care for riding on the subway,
man, it's
but it's a
bad.
means to an end. It's the fastest way uptown, and if I was to take a taxi up there, it would cost about $35 just to get up there.
I mean,
So with me being a
yeah,
low income dude,
yeah. I
I
mean, we
I
all have no
it's
choice,
also the fastest way. I'm
right?
not crazy about taking them, but it's a means to an end. That
Right.
is the term. It is a means, a way to get something accomplished.
And let me tell you, man, the courtesy level on the train is at zero. You know what I mean? You could
Yeah.
be on the most emptiest train, minding your own business in a spot on the train, good location on the train where nobody could bother you or whatever, and somebody will still end up putting their bag in your throat. you know,
Oh my goodness.
you know what I mean? And you got to
Right.
stand sideways now because of this person. Because there's
Exactly.
no courtesy. They just don't care. That their bag hits
Exactly.
you or anything, man. It's wild, man. But that's the way New York City is. But anyway,
Right. It
I
is. You and I, we're huge baseball fans. We love the Yankees, and this is a huge disappointment for us. But really, sports is really lower on the list of issues. As far as the coronavirus is concerned, there are
yeah.
many more scary things involved than just what's happening with sports.
Well, they say if you walk anywhere in the vicinity of 125th Street in Lexington, you're already immune to the virus.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy cow.
Think
But
about that. That's how
no,
dirty 125th Street is. But anyway, that's our show.
okay. You
Yeah.
stay safe.
And well, yeah, everybody, please wash your hands and I guess play baseball in your house. You know what people could do? Buy the video game on PlayStation and play baseball at home. There you go.
Exactly.
That's the solve. That solve it right there. But anyway, thank you for listening, everybody. Follow me on all social media, BX Bomber 2011, and we'll see you sooner or later in the season. So long, everybody. See ya.
Take care.